We're on the prowl.
Hello and welcome to On the Prowl. I'm Kiran Gollakota and this is Kevin Whitaker. Talking about the week in sports, which obviously the big news this week is that Coach Johnson has left Princeton to take a job at Fairfield University as the head coach there. The news was announced late Monday evening. We had been hearing rumors about it for the week before that happened. First just saying that he was in the mix for that job, and then after that had been hearing that he was actually on the campus. We didn't make much of it because we thought it would have been a very surprising move, but you know, it happened, and the reaction, kind of understandably, was of shock.
It was. Sidney Johnson, of course, if you're watching this, you probably know, down the stretch of this season, this emotional season, he kept saying, "I love Princeton basketball," wrote down in tears during the press conference after the Kentucky loss. So a lot of people took that as a sign that he was really attached to this program and he wouldn't really consider leaving. You had a lot of sort of speculation that he might be the next coach to stay here for a decade or longer and sort of really build up a reputation. So when this news sort of broke pretty quickly and that he's going to Fairfield, not a major conference school, the initial reaction was, what is Fairfield and what is Sidney Johnson doing?
And some people have spoken about this as a lateral move, and it is in a lot of ways, but the Stags do have a pretty stacked team for next year. And all indications are that with Coach Johnson and with the kind of roster that they've built up, there's a very good shot that he'll be back in the NCAA tournament, but wearing different colors.
Indeed, yeah. As you mentioned, a lateral move is sort of the key here. It's not a backwards move, it's about a lateral move. Especially also now, he can sort of build up his resume where I think most people expect Fairfield to reach the NCAA tournament either this coming year or the year after that. He can then take that to a major conference program, say, look, I've taken 2 teams to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while. For both schools, Fairfield hasn't been there in at least a decade, so that'll sort of be a notch on his resume. Also, sort of to address the one elephant in this room here is the money, where neither school released salary data publicly, so we don't know this for sure, but all rumors indicate that Fairfield's offer was somewhere in the neighborhood of twice as much as Princeton's.
Which obviously, you know, is a concern for a lot of coaches today with really job security in that kind of college athletics scene is not very high, and you know, you take the opportunities where you can get them. But the search already started here at Princeton for the next coach. You know, not to speculate too early because there is still going to be a long ways to go. But you know, one of the names that has been thrown around is that of Brian Earl, who served as an assistant coach with Johnson for the last few years, played on the team with Johnson while they were both here at Princeton, and you know, but obviously still early. So that announcement expected, you know, in 2 or 3 weeks maybe. But anyway, moving on to tennis. They have been doing really, really well. The men's tennis team is crazy right now.
The men's tennis team undefeated in the Ivy League, 4-0 so far. Sort of been the exciting part is that each victory's come 4-3, the smallest possible margin. So they've been in a lot of exciting matches and winning a lot of matches. Right now, as we tape, they're playing Harvard. They won the doubles point and are ahead in most of the singles matches. So it looks like they'll improve to 5-0, only need 2 more victories. The last match of the season is against Cornell, which is the other undefeated team in the Ivy League, at least entering this weekend. And so that's a match that will be circled on everybody's calendar.
Yeah, and you know, the team as a whole playing at a very high level right now. Coach Michitaba doing great work with that squad, and it's really exciting to see them kind of be right in the thick of it, especially after last year where they were in pretty much the same position. And for all of them to be playing at a very strong level right now is great. And so the other big game this weekend was men's lacrosse taking on Syracuse in Princeton Stadium. And of course, most of you probably remember last year at the Big City Classic at the new Medellin Stadium when Syracuse, for lack of a better word, embarrassed Princeton in front of a rather large crowd in the first ever athletic event at the new Medellin Stadium. That I was at that game. That was strange to say the least, especially considering the way the team had played last year. So I think a lot of people expected it to be a similar blowout.
Indeed, Princeton came in the game 2-5. Syracuse undefeated, the consensus #1 team in the country. And Syracuse goes out, scores a goal in the first 30 seconds, another one a minute after that. And so everybody's sort of like, okay, here we go. This is going to be another blowout. Except that's not what happened.
Yeah, you know, Coach Bates really slowed down the tempo and made very deliberate offensive attacks, which kept Syracuse to only 7 goals for the game, which is unusual considering how strong they are on offense. But, they had guys like Stephen Keogh still doing really well, but Princeton able to stay with it, really make this a very, very close game until the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. And it's an encouraging sign for the Princeton team that they were able to do this against Syracuse. Of course, they're still looking to kind of break that last hurdle and get the win, which they'll need to do, and fast, in order to make it to the NCAA tournament. The 4-game Ivy League tournament that's coming up is pretty much the only way now that Princeton can make it in, and they're not even guaranteed to be in that tournament as of right now.
You have to give credit to Tyler Fiorito. Goalie had a fantastic game on Saturday. 10 saves in the second half, held the Orange attack scoreless in the third quarter. So tremendous work. He's been one of the keys all season for Princeton. Certainly will be if they have a hope to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, great work by him. The Princeton attack obviously a little hurt by all of these injuries that they've been having, but able to put together some nice plays. Sophomore attack, Luke Armour getting a nice little goal in there. Very nice, actually. And, we'll see what happens. This has obviously been a tough season for the men's lacrosse team, but hopefully they can still pull it out. And, once you get to the NCAA tournament, anything can happen. So, yeah, that's this weekend in sports. Next week we'll be back on Sunday to tell you more about the men's tennis team. Hopefully a little bit more about what's happening with the men's basketball team and everything in between. So, see you then.